Through the process of quieting the outer mind emerges the essence of the inner mind. The outer mind gets carried away in its analytical disposition, trapped in distinctions and duality. In attempts to exert its presence, power, and influence, it becomes loud and obstructive. In turn, we limit ourselves and our world. In rare experiences of quieting the outer mind, we tune into an inner mind that's mellow but in tune and harmony with our inner being. Solitude and stillness become our greatest sanctuary. It is in those moments of communion with the inner mind we come to acknowledge our soul's deepest desires and aims that are beyond the material world. This inner mind is less concerned about our hold on the world and the people around us. Although we can't completely shut ourselves out from the rest of existence, we can learn to transcend in the midst of chaos. Only then have we come intact with our own immortal essence and the boundlessness of existence. Learning to master life from a brighter angle, we come to grasp the beauty and truth of all there is. In remembrance of the greater story and legend behind Earth existence, we begin to embrace a more inspirational role, affirmative of existence, in allegiance to turning the narrative around and embarking on a greater path at long last. So Rihanna has her South Node in Virgo, and if there was an anthem for the sign Virgo, it would be the song Work by Rihanna herself. According to this insider article, Rihanna is currently the 4th artist with the most number 1 hits, with 14 number 1 songs. The fact that she surpassed Michael Jackson, Madonna, Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, just to name a few, says a lot. That's a major accomplishment because all of these artists are icons and legends in their own right. I would attribute this in part to her Virgo South Node. As you may already know, the South Node is the dominant theme of our upbringing, the familial values we inherited, the vibe of our early childhood memories, our innate gifts, and the point of mastery. With the South Node in Virgo, these people are super disciplined and they have outstanding work ethic. Virgo is of the modality of Earth. It's literally made of the stuff of this earth. These people do very well attending to the everyday mundane details, the little things that, people find boring. When I think of the Virgo archetype, I see images of the blacksmith in A Knight's Tale or an embroiderer. Obviously, with Rihanna, that work ethic was applied to her musical career. In the era of Beyonce, she was able to carve her own iconic image, especially since she was initially being referred to as the Bajan Beyonce. A lot of people didn't see her thriving in the long term. So with every zodiac sign, there's this sense of duality. With all of Virgo's obsession with perfection, sense of order, mental clarity, and strong work ethic comes the disapproval, the nitpicking, and analysis paralysis. Virgos are stereotyped as ice queens because with an unbalanced South Node in Virgo or just an abundance of Virgo energy in the birth chart, people can become very mechanical and cut off from their emotional right brain. There's this whole speculation of Rihanna hating the Kardashians, especially Kendall Jenner. Now, obviously, this is all speculation because there's no evidence of Rihanna proclaiming her hatred of Kendall. But there was this particular tweet of a 16-year-old Kendall stating at the time that she would be upset if Rihanna didn't perform her favorite song at a performance, to which Rihanna replied, "Well, don't come." Now, people have presented different ways of looking at it. One person pointed out, why would she tell Kendall not to come when she's obviously a fan who was excited to see her perform? Another person counterpointed, if she was truly a fan, then she would have went and supported without making any demands. Some people believe Rihanna was being unnecessarily mean to a fan, while others praised her for giving Kendall a reality check because apparently the Kardashians and Jenners believe the world revolves around them. Then there were others pointing out that island people are very straightforward, but regardless, some people viewed Rihanna's backlash as being cold and unwarranted, while some defended her since the Kardashians are quite controversial themselves. And then there was the case with Alexis Carter and the dress. As a fangirl trying to emulate her idol Rihanna, she wore a dress that was similar to one that Rihanna has worn before. Well, Rihanna retweeted a side-by-side comparison of Alexis and her wearing the dresses with a sad emoji implying that Alexis's didn't look as good. Yes, South Node in Virgo is concerned with perfection and they like to provide critique, but obviously this turned into cyberbullying. So, in order to balance the South Node in Virgo tendency of being overly critical and nitpicking, they need to acquire Piscean compassion and the ability to see the bigger picture in life. The North Node in Pisces is concerned with compassion and transcendence of self-interest. It becomes of utmost importance to refrain from judgment of others and narrow-mindedness. While South Node energy depended on the analytical intellect, learning to live from the heart is of a greater evolutionary path. The North Node in Pisces is cultivating empathy and compassion for humanity. The most obvious way the North Node in Pisces is manifesting in her life is through her creative expression in music. Pisces is one of the most artistic signs. But also aside from the music, the Piscean generosity and selfless giving is quite apparent through her many humanitarian endeavors. Harvard University at one point named her Humanitarian of the Year, and that definitely says a lot. Although her last album was released in 2016, she recently released a single for Wakanda in 2022. Honestly, sorry to diehard Rihanna fans, but this is a necessary step for this part of her evolution. The stark contrast with Pisces and Virgo energy is, with Pisces, you're casting your fate to the wind and come what may. And when it comes to Virgo, it's about holding life by the balls and going out there and applying will force to make anything happen. Obviously, in this time in her life, Rihanna has accomplished a lot, but now life's asking her to take a step back and really get to know who Robyn Fenty truly is. Being more private would help on her journey towards a greater self-discovery and self-remembrance. Her kids are there to give her that spiritual balance as well. Being a full-time mom when you don't have to worry about generating an income, when you can become relaxed in the role, it can be the most self-remembering act. Kids make you lose your ego and take you back to a place of pure innocence. If you're doing it right with less stress, you can absolutely self-discover through your kids. The 6th house is polar opposite from the 12th house. The 6th is where we show up to work and we're all clocked in and ready to take on the world. It involves our daily routine and interfacing with the world. The 12th house is more private and inward and relaxed. Think of extrovert versus introvert. Yin versus yang. Through self-contemplation and self-discovery, we come in tune with all that's ever been. When we allow ourselves that quiet space, an internal sanctuary, we come in contact with something much greater than ourselves. When we allow ourselves to go to that quiet space, we shut that voice that delights in antagonizing. When we come to just be and see all as it truly is, we come to a greater sense of inner harmony, which then reflects on the outer. With the North Node in Pisces, we have to build that sanctuary for ourselves, so that the truth of our being can resonate as it may. If Rihanna were to truly get back in the music business, taking this hiatus and truly getting to know herself, her place in this world, her position of power and influence is really important. Another important thing about Piscean energy and the 12th house is this is truly the point where the individual loses itself in the macrocosm. You become at one with humanity, our trials and tribulations as a whole. When people talk about doing ayahuasca and describe the experience of ego death, it's kind of similar to the North Node in 12th house. We as humans, we experience life from our own limited perspective and we go through life in a separative void. But 12th house is quieting of the outer mind and tuning into a place that is all-seeing. When we put aside all the judgments, discrimination, the mind analyzing and cutting the world apart, The evolved Neptunian energy burns bridges and blurs boundaries. If Rihanna were to kind of step away a bit from her Virgo South Node and delve deep into that Piscean and Neptunian side of life, without completely losing sight of her Virgo practicality and groundedness, her music would probably be more uplifting and enlightening and truly in alignment with her soul's greater purpose. When she first came out into the industry, she was young and she had a record label basically directing her art. Not a lot of artists then and now have a lot of creative control over their art. A lot of record labels are in it for the money. What sells other than sex, money, drugs, and things of the lower mind? There's a lot of ego in today's music and not enough soul. The good stuff that uplifts and touches people on a soul level. If Rihanna was to align with her soul's higher calling, the kind of music she releases in the future would be less sex, objectification, and straight from the heart and more relatable and uplifting. I also wanted to mention Jhené Aiko, who also has the North Node in Pisces. She shared these two quotes on her Instagram, which are so North Node in Pisces. The connecting with your inner child and cultivating an inner world basically sums up the experience of this node. I might do a video exploring Jhené Aiko's life and career in the future, but for the sake of keeping this video short, I chose Rihanna as the focus. Hope people take something from this. I hope there's more of interest in astrology from people. I hope people are waking up and working towards aligning with their soul's higher calling. I have a lot of hopes because each and everyone is indispensable and it's just a matter of having faith and awareness.